are you by
Take the hot
yourself?
seat.
Andrea's supposed to be here,
Okay,
but she said she would dial in.
okay, all right.
I believe she was here in person.
Yeah, do you want to get her on the
I'm just gonna open the meeting then.
Thank you.
So, good evening. It is 5:31. At this point, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the BAR of today, May the 14th, 2025. Welcome. What?
19.
Sorry. And present are Tom Birmingham, Billy Mincy, myself, Stephanie Rinser, and Christopher Gow. Rob McQuilkin is absent today. And thank you, Desiree, for taking the minutes.
Gonna put you a speaker. Hang on. All right, you're on speaker, Andrea.
So the first applicant for today is Dhruv Singh, who is present here, and the landscaper, Andrea Buckingham, is on the telephone.
Yeah, I apologize for not being there. I hit horrible traffic. I'm still
That's okay.
coming, but anyway, I know we're discussing just the screening today, and you got my little sketch, and I had gotten your comments from John. And what I said to him is, first of all, I'm more than happy to switch the Norway spruce with white spruce, as you recommend, but as this is just a tiny portion of the future landscaping, and we were just trying to jumpstart on placing some screening so that it can grow a year before he really tackles the rest of the landscaping, because there's so much going on with the house. The area that I have the green giants, it's a very narrow area that's a lot of shade. And if we're trying to get screening for him and privacy on the deck level, it really limits what I can put there. And that's why I've chosen the green giants, because I know they can do well in the partial shade. I can plant them along the base. And as we get into the upper lawn area, which is the other extension of the screening, I certainly plan on adding more, native material, additional trees. We're going to be doing planting along the street up on that upper level. And there I can use some eastern red cedar, and I'd like to use hawthorn and dogwoods. But again, just in this little area that we're concentrating on now, there's shade, and then it drops very steeply down into the wetland, and it's wooded along that edge. And that's why I proposed what I have.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Christopher?
We're confident in, your future plans and you have the flexibility to do that, and the space and everything. This area here is very problematic because, as you said, you have a very small area. But this shrieks out to us of, as suburban, with, just this one line of the arbor vitae. So it's going to look it's going to stick out like a sore thumb when you're driving by. So you'll get your privacy, but the rest of the park will get this, we're, this beautiful natural area, and suddenly this line of trees, lined up like soldiers. I understand it's a challenge, but this isn't going to work. So what other options are there that?
Well, I was just further from that, I would say, from the point of view of the client who is currently looking at a luscious, fantastic mixed forest, to be then looking at a wall of trees, it's kind of Home Depot parking lot kind of landscaping. And what I would first of all do is, are these actually your trees or are they village trees? Do you know where the line is?
The lines, when you say, when you're referring to which trees?
These wonderful old trees and mixed trees.
These ones, yeah.
Because the first thing that, and if they're village trees, I'll be the first to volunteer. They need to be freed from porcelain berries, wine berries, and all sorts of invasives, like these ones.
Yeah.
And what we noticed here,
I think they're all on Mr. Singh's.
Yeah, they're all on,
Yeah. I still volunteer to take those invasive things out. So here, what you have here is a row of existing fabulous native fledgling trees, you know, like little tiny adorable teenagers. You've got a wild blossoming cherry right here. You've got a wild beech here. You've got an American ash tree here. You've got an elm tree here. They're all coming up, and I would not rip them out to plant these foreign things. I would simply free them from what there is currently impeding on them and enjoy them. I mean, did you see those adorable blossoms on that cherry tree?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. If you want me to help you get rid of those invasive things, I'd be the first to help you. And then once they're cleaned up, I would just see what you actually have already that, you know, costs nothing. And then what you could add, what I would personally add right there amongst those native things is semi-evergreens like high bush blueberries that your kids can eat, and, you know, just
My understanding, and Andrea, keep me honest here, but my understanding is we were planting, but we weren't actually removing any of the existing, and that they were lower. Is that right, Andrea? That are
Yeah,
being referred to?
we were only doing that 6-foot swath that really, there's a lot of brambles on the left-hand side if you're looking at the drawing in the line. And on the bottom section of the line, there's really nothing there.
this is kind of where
currently.
this is where the trees are growing, right where that pen is. That's where they're growing. That's the brambles. If you clean up those brambles, you'd find those wonderful trees under them. I mean, an American beech, you know, they take 60 years before they form fruits, you know, 60 whole years. So you know, it's a real miracle.
So it's that hybridness that so there's a variety of shapes, of colors, of sizes that make it that makes it natural, as opposed to like when you come into Tuxedo Park, right in front of the security gate, there's those line of arbor vitae, which, you know, totally gas station, and that's what this would look like with these. So it's
I am, you know, I'm a naturalist too, and I understand you. But I guess, and I've struggled with this area because the deck itself looks very, you know, foreign to the rest of the house, and I think that was part of the reason too to bring in some evergreens to screen it, not only giving them privacy, but also sort of minimizing that section of the house that, you know, is different than the rest of the house, you know. So again, it's really Drew's, you know, goals that I tried to, you know, accomplish, but I am certainly open to, you know, whatever the biggest priority is, to accomplishing that in the best way possible. So,
well, let me ask you a question. The terrace, was that agreed by the zoning?
This one, this one.
The
Well, this one is
new terrace.
pre-existing.
Yes, this
is
one's
existing.
pre-existing.
So that's all agreed to, because I was wondering if it hadn't been, maybe that could be reduced in size and this one increased, so you give you some more space for plantings there and more
Can I-
privacy.
Could I just ask, what is it? Is it the lower part of this terrace that you want to disguise, or the upper part?
It's more the lower part, and really I think the objectives that we were really looking for was, if you look at the road, and I'll just draw it on this. The road is, the cars essentially come to some extent like facing this way,
Mhm.
and then the road essentially loops essentially like this. So over here, people are facing essentially right here.
Mhm.
That's why we were, and looking, ideally, to the extent there's openness to this, right? Like, we could also, I have no challenge in planting also in the area that's also part of the towns. So I mean, to the extent you guys are open to it, to make it feel more natural, if we wanted to scatter them some, you know, I'm happy to, go ahead, Andrea.
the problem is you have steep slopes on both sides. You have steep slopes along the, you know, adjacent incoming road, Tuxedo Road, and then you have slopes going down from your deck area. So you're losing, if you're planting down on that slope, and it's very heavy shade, very wooded. you're not going to have success. So, you know, you want to plant something that's going to live, obviously, and have a chance. And I don't really see on the town's room, you know, along the guardrail there, you're not going to get a lot to really establish well
What about,
without,
oh, sorry.
you know, without hurting some of the existing material, which obviously we don't want to do. Like, to me, at least, when you drive up the road, this time of year, there's so much foliage that you really wouldn't even notice, you know, an arborvitae hedge under his deck at this, you know, this point of the season, because the leaves do fill in. But I think, again, you know, I'm totally in agreement that it's difficult.
What about a
area.
trellis with Lonicera sempervirens? That's you know, a climbing vine that's native, good for the hummingbirds and can tolerate a lot of shade. If you have a lattice work trellis instead of digging into the roots of those oak trees.
Again, I need Drew, I need your sort of guidance on what's more important. I'm literally passing your house on the main road right now. And I can't see much of anything because of the foliage.
Yeah.
But
This is a 4 months a year problem.
privacy wise, like, you know, is it more important for the bottom? Is it more important for the top if you're on the deck? You know,
I think the intention was to both, there's the bottom part of the deck. I think it's less about being on the deck because it's elevated. It's more providing a screen such that if one were, say, in the backyard, from this angle, even with these here, you kind of lose your direct line of sight to here also. Does that make sense? And you also don't see the kind of full view of the property. So it's to give it some obstruction. The wall is actually not what's as important. There needs to be a firm wall. I'm sure if you've driven through, because no one's driving, if someone's walking, it's not that we need to have like a full kind of Hampton's Head privacy. That's not what we're looking for. It's just more of, as of now, it's entirely naked, right? It's just, you look, you see the whole way through and the whole way into the property. Versus if people are driving, it's really to address the kind of car vision. If it's semi-obstructed, when you're driving past, you don't really just see directly through it. Does that make sense? So I think that was more the objective, was to introduce sufficient kind of large landscaping structures that for a car passing by in the, call it, second and a half or 2 seconds that you're actually directly facing the house, you're not able to get a 2-second direct view into the whole property. That was the real objective.
Right.
I don't claim to be an expert because always some of the ideas mentioned here exceed ideas that I've had. So I don't claim to be an expert in like all the options available. But I think that is my, and Andrea, tell me if you'd add anything, but that's kind of my statement of the objective. And that's why I was saying, like, I understand that we may not be successful here, but what we really were trying to do is create something, which, as Andrea said, is also, you know, because right now you're looking at essentially what would happen in winter, be a flat lawn, this deck kind of popping out of nowhere. You can see under the deck, and you can obviously see the back house structure. You can see all these things, you know, kind of in plain sight when people are driving. And what we're actually in the process, it is mentioned here, but also we're intending to add ivy to further screen and to try to just even break it up, right? And the ivy is obviously not to screen, to add, like, give it more of a softer look. So that's what we're really trying to go to, is like both to give softness to the home from our aesthetic, give us some privacy from our aesthetic, but also like for people that are driving, trying to soften the whole view and make it seem more natural, and not, you know, that 4 or 5 months a year you see straight through and there's just like a giant home, you know, like a big home sitting there totally visible. I don't think that really serves kind of the objectives of the community too, right? I think we're just a more private community.
Well, I think maybe we could, now that it's really important that you explain what the objective is. So do you think we should just adjourn this and just go back and really understand how we can help put this
I'm
vision
walking
into
in
action?
right now. Okay.
Just to back up, what the objective is, I see two aspects.
Mhm.
Hiding the structure
Yep.
and the privacy aspect. Both are equally important, or is one more important than the other?
I would say there, it's more softening the aesthetic.
Mhm.
This is not, from a privacy standpoint, no one's sunbathing on this deck in the middle of winter, right? Like so it's not even that we're using the deck so much in the middle of winter and we're seeking
Given the
For-
distance from the road.
that people can't see us. It's the second half.
And
That's not
no
what
one's stopping there. and
Exactly.
Taking out binoculars and,
exactly. So it's not quite privacy in that sense.
Okay.
It brings, what I do think it'll bring both some more discreetness to the home.
Right.
So if you use the word discreetness or an preventing the unobstructed view, that discreetness, preventing an unobstructed view, that's definitely the major objective. It need not be a wall to be privacy. So it's not quite as far as privacy, but it's a cousin of it.
Let's back
And then
up
the-
even more then, if you want that discreetness, I missed the meeting, but but I think in one of the previous discussions, painting this extension yellow highlights it so much more than it is.
I agree.
That it is in the moment. You got to keep it the way it is. It disappears. If you highlight it yellow, especially underneath the balcony and it's painted yellow, that terrace is going to pop out like a sore thumb. So I would I mean, I know it's a great matching color. I know you know your extended family and you've had a lot of professional input on the color, but I really think to keep it as is, that dark color would make it so much discreet. And if you paint it yellow to try and match the house, it's just going to make it this problem that we have even bigger.
So I think with this, what we're really trying to do is with the color, right? We're moving forward with the color because we also want to layer it with ivy on top of it, right? And you can't repaint after you put ivy on it. So the idea is that we want it to match, and then with an ivy layer, and also adding ivy to the front, it'll bring much more cohesiveness overall.
Ivy, what?
Virginia creeper possibly
Yeah.
instead of ivy. It's
We were gonna do Boston ivy, but,
that's also from England, right?
And then the Boston ivy, then that's in the
Boston
winter
ivy.
it falls off, right? I mean, it's beautiful in the fall, red, and then it falls off. So then it's the same thing. You have no evergreen. So it's this 4 month, as you said, this winter problem where, and it's new, it's nude. It's there's not a leaf in sight. So I'm not sure the ivy aspect is going to deal with it in the winter, because at the moment, as you just said, you drove in, it's hidden, it's beautiful. But so focusing on these 4 weeks, so the ivy aspect isn't going to work. The actual building being painted yellow is making it even more of a challenge for Andrea to already get. It's a big challenge, as we're all in agreement. So that's so I don't know what else to suggest. It's it's a problem, and I think we're making it even more more of a challenge with the color.
I disagree with you on the color, but look, I think because there's a cohesiveness trade-off here. I think cohesiveness in this instance trumps, because I think it sticks out
Right,
because you have two
right,
tones.
yeah,
So we can agree to disagree on that one, right? But I think fundamentally, right, with this, I'd love to hear, I don't know, Andrea, if you have any other thoughts on like what are other approaches, just given the objective really is to bring some discreteness, in particular, from as we said, right, and this was the thinking on this was really for that one curve where everyone's facing square. And that's why, we're not suggesting, a wall essentially the whole way through along the property line. That's it. It really is just trying to shield to some degree the home from this one angle. And it's not even, as we said, it's not, window-based privacy, because we have windows all along this wall, we have windows along this wall, right? So we're not really seeking privacy in that definition. It's just more trying to soften it to some degree. But Andrea, I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
again, it is a challenge. I don't know the final deck, outline that you, have you submitted that or no? Or
That's, we weren't able to get that completed for this meeting.
because that
I think we're a
affects,
couple of weeks
I
out.
think-
how much
there's-
room I
yeah.
have and.
I think it might be super good if we could review it all together and then take our comments of today, into consideration and look at the whole thing together. I
Makes
think,
sense.
I understand that you're under pressure to plant things.
That was the reason
But-
for expedite.
But it's still gonna, it's still gonna be,
Could we speak about these in that case? Versus, so I understand here, the kind of deck plans are an impact. Could we speak about these? Let's see, it's 3, 5, 8.
Well, yeah, and I made a change
An
for
extra
the
for you.
Norway spruce to go into white
Okay.
spruce. And
What
then he
about
loves
that,
cryptomeria,
dogwood?
but we're gonna,
Oh.
again, we're gonna integrate, natives in front of that. This is just like
yeah,
to give them a little bit of privacy,
Sure.
It's really just a starting point, so.
what about this dogwood there? That's so close to these spruces, isn't that gonna be,
It's not close,
no?
no. We're not touching that dogwood.
Because those spruces become really enormous.
I know, but we're
quickly.
sort of carving out the corner where it's all brambles,
Mhm.
to add those spruces in there.
That's where that cherry tree is. So sweet. Okay, what's your opinion?
Well, we visited the site and it is a challenge. I don't know. I haven't been a part of all the discussions about the terrace, but a trade-off in moving this terrace would have solved a lot of these problems. I know you've kept this terrace. I think definitely the underside of a terrace needs to be, a lattice, an attractive lattice at least, and some sort of growth on that would help that immensely because that's the really hard thing when you look at that house to me. And the modernness of that terrace is sort of, that's jarring, and so I think that would be a something to consider. And I don't know what the structure that you're gonna add, but I wouldn't make the same mistake twice. Try to make sure that's incorporated, and that will help. It'll ground the terrace because it's up there flying,
I know.
and it's on this little piloty, it's
know.
like, and it's that.
That's being restructured too, by the way.
Yeah, so.
The other thing I want to add while I was doing to this, that you were in the house such a short time, I don't know whether you had the opportunity to have dinner parties in your dining room.
Mhm.
Apparently, when you're in the dining room, the headlights shine straight in, is that right? So
No,
I've heard that. I haven't dined there, but that's what friends have said, that the cars go straight into the dining room, so. if
no,
the
that's,
case-
it's a living room, so that would be here. It's essentially this portion here, because the dining room is on this side.
Okay,
So it wouldn't be the dining room, it'd be the formal living room. But with the formal living room, I'll tell you, I haven't really noticed it.
okay,
Like
that's
it-
good,
It's,
okay. I was just
and-
always concerned you hadn't been in there and before the fire so much, and that was an issue someone mentioned before you
No.
lived there, and.
I haven't really
Okay.
noticed it.
Good, well, that's one less problem then.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that as much. But would it be possible, because I think for us, it would be the things we wanted to start with were the ivy and
That's on the front of the house.
I guess these here.
On this, is that on this plan?
Yeah, it's noted on the front. So this is the front, this portico's right here. So there's a boxwood hedge
Mhm.
and there's an existing sort of concrete swale that literally touches the foundation. So we're gonna take that out, add a French drain, and then plant ivy along those walls so that it can take,
It's a really tight space in there.
it is,
You know,
it's like
so
18 inches. Yeah.
Right, and so to not disturb those box
Mhm.
hedge, it'll be a little bit of a challenge. You have to cut it back, I guess. And
Yeah, they're gonna have to saw cut it.
yeah, and you're gonna use surgical tools to take it out. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw the standing water. I know why you want to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would,
Yeah, that's exactly what part of the problem is.
Yeah.
Right now, there's just standing water
Yeah.
sitting there. So I've both get that gone to get rid of the standing water and then also add ivy to kind of soften the front. And the intention, we're not doing the rest of this now, but the intention would be to also add ivy here and here to soften this. There's a lot of actual work we need to do here because we actually want to create kind of called it the interior peekaboo. I really like that, like the garden actually coming around to the front over here.
Well, yeah, there's a concrete slab that you have to walk across as you come in past, here's the garages.
Mhm.
And then to get to the back of the deck, this is all just a slab sitting on top that we can take out and do a stepping stone path with plantings and soften it, So, I mean, there's a lot
yeah, I
work
think,
ahead of.
I think we're not ready to vote on anything at this time, as much as I'd love to help. I think.
Well, can you
it's
do the
just
Ivy
too-
and then this section of school?
I
or
think
no?
we should just see the whole thing together. I think it's just too, just to approve things in little bits and pieces. I think if mistakes are gonna be avoided if everything is done all at once. I mean, if you wanna just, we can do it in the next, in 2 weeks. Do you think you have it ready
Well,
then?
Yeah, it's really, I haven't
the-
seen any of the deck plans. I haven't,
The
I'm
deck
sort
is
of-
very close to being ready, so I think we might put it, but would we miss the planting season?
No, you can
Well,
always plant things. Sorry, to the garden.
No, well, I mean, the evergreens, it's our windows starting to close because good spring evergreens already getting picked through, and they're not gonna dig them now until the candles are hardened off, so. It would then maybe get pushed to the fall. For the evergreens.
Even in 2 weeks, if we did the,
Well, I need to know like
Okay.
today. Like for the white spruce, if I don't tell them today, I'm not gonna get them.
Christopher, what do you say?
I mean, if any natives you want to order, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just these sort of, more suburban ones that, but the white spruce then, yeah, and the ivy, it would be great to have the whole plan, but yeah, we understand and we want to work with you. So I would, like the white spruce and the ivy, I would be happy to go ahead, and then it gives you a little bit more time to work out what this thing is, and then at the same time maybe address that invasive species, the miscanthus, in the front driveway. So that's
There's a lot. The blue
Porcelain
spruce,
berry in the
yeah,
back
There's
and
there's
wine
a lot to
berries.
do,
Mhm.
but he's got a lot to tackle on the inside of the house, so
Exactly.
that's why we haven't really, this has just been, I
Okay,
didn't.
so.
No,
so-
this is very much just the kind of big things to give them a little bit of time, the ivy, just to give it a little bit of time to get started, that's all it's really.
Yeah, he
is.
just wants he loves the IP.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, I'd like to make a motion to approve 3 native spruce trees.
Here I have signed and sealed where I changed the names so you can be
Can you
okay
read,
with
can
that.
you read the name of that?
Picea glauca,
Do you hear
white
that?
spruce.
I'll send you off the plans tomorrow.
Yeah, I have 4 copies
Good.
that are sealed.
That's good.
And the ivy, on the front of the house, near or behind the existing boxwoods. And the rest of the plan to be, approved as soon as you're able to make those changes. Do I have a second?
and the date
Oh.
of the revised plan is today.
I didn't change the date, but
Well, it's just the name of those 3.
April 24th.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have changed that, but
Yeah, why don't we make it today's date? April 24th is a long time. Yeah.
what's the
May
date?
19.
So do I have a second?
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your accommodation.
Thank you.
Get a couple weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for switching position. No worries, no worries.
Just let me go first.
Mailed over to
So that's the same as this one.
John. Yeah, and then we added some, just photos of some work and the perennials that are gonna be going into the future as well as the aquatic plants. See. Which drawing do you have there? You have this one, correct? Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if anybody would like a drawing of this, they can have one.
What was the message? The one?
You don't know what's in your envelope.
Yeah, that was submitted last, 10 days ago on Friday.
It's on smaller paper.
Oh,
I'm not a computer. I'm running my 17.
That went
The plan
through.
has not changed in the last 10 days, correct?
No, but we did the explanation of the, in that package was the plants that were gonna be planted. And then also how the drainage would happen out of the basin. I also did stop by the other day when it was heavily raining after the meeting here. And the downspout that was coming off the roof was just trickling water out. It wasn't much water coming out of that pipe.
So it's, thank you for, keep on, providing more information and more, background about it. My, opinion about it is still a very hard no, for the same reasons of that. We had, the bar is so high here in Tuxedo Park with Mother Nature, and bringing something so artificial sets a bad precedent. And the work that you do in other neighborhoods and other areas that don't have such a beautiful natural landscape is fantastic. Bringing that nature to people, and I think that's very commendable. But with a property with such an amazing view of the lake and this nature, I think something so artificial into Tuxedo Park is not something I could ever vote on.
What do you think?
I understand Christopher's opinion. But as I said last time, and I was, it's your home. And I think, yeah, I'm an architect, and I'd fight more fiercely for the architecture than for the landscaping. I don't know, that maybe that's just my opinion. This can be reversed. It's just landscape. Building a poorly designed house is something everyone has to look at. And that's how I feel. And I would fight tooth and nail to keep that out of the park. There's enough of it here that I don't agree with, but I would, it's nice that you submitted the information we requested, and I'd support it.
I come down on Bill's side with this. I don't have an objection to what's planned there. I see it as a use of the property, private, low impact, actually. So, yeah, from my experience, my point of view, it's something I would support.
Well, I appreciate that you added some native plants, but I think it's not a thing that's done in the park, and this place is so precious and so rare that I wouldn't support introducing an artificial feature like that. We try to make it more into an area that helps wildlife, but I don't think this does. And it's just very strange looking. So I would not support it. So, but I think we've all gone through it. So are we ready to proceed to a vote?
Can I just add something? Okay. From what I understand, you're not gonna be able to see it from the street. So it's built so we can see it from the house, but if you drive by, you can't see it. So I think that takes away any objections from the neighbors, or nobody's gonna see it. And the other thing is, I haven't said this, but Tim has won all kinds of awards for making things look natural. He's a great designer. And the other thing is, we're using a lot of the original stone from the Barbie House, which I think really adds to the history.
No, no, we hear you. It's, I mean, it's a very, very high bar that, you're up against. So there's no disrespect to you about your, what your designs and what you've done. It's just here in Tuxedo Park to create a precedent of bringing something, that Tuxedo Park is all about the beauty of nature and us trying to support it and us trying to keep it as natural looking as possible without it being over manicured and this would, unfortunately, even if it's not so visible, it would set a bad precedent. We would not want, this is not the sort of thing we want in Tuxedo Park. We're trying to preserve the very rare and exceptional nature of Tuxedo Park and embrace the Mother Nature aspect of it, and that's why it's for me it's crystal clear. It's this is not the sort of thing that I would vote for.
So are we ready to? You had every comment. We're ready to proceed to vote. Do I have a second?
Second,
What do you want?
in favor.
So I vote against.
In favor.
Against.
So it's 2-2. Did you record that? Okay.
That's
thank you.
recorded. Oh.
Okay.
There weren't sufficient votes for it to be approved.
Yeah, it's, a tie means no.
You need the majority
We're
vote.
missing one.
Yeah, where's Rob?
Who was a yes?
Rob couldn't make this evening's
No.
meeting.
He's not available.
And you need him.
So how's that fair to us?
I'm not sure what he was going to vote. It's he,
No.
he has to be here.
So then do we need to reschedule another meeting?
At this
Yes.
point, the project's been denied.
Because one of the members did not show up tonight to a meeting,
No,
who was a yes?
because you received the vote, 2 yes and 2 no. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But before I go. I'm assuming what's his, I don't know the man's.
Rob
name.
McCullough.
Rob McCullough.
Yeah, I'm assuming he was a yes for the last meeting. Is there any way we can, John said we received a no, the project is dead, but is there any way to renew the project?
I don't know.
My
the
understanding
process.
is that when you receive a no, you can appeal the BAR's decision to the BZA, as I understand it. But you just can't ask for a revote at the next meeting. There's a formal no.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the project changed materially, if the board would revisit it, but that's really not for me to decide. But this application and this project's been denied by the bar.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
You like to come?
Congratulations on your new home. Are you excited?
Yeah.
I could tell. And your husband and your family.
So would you like to take us through the design idea for the lights?
There are lights there now and they're all rusty and missing panes. the lights that are there also have a large TP on the glass. I personally think they're extremely ugly and obnoxious. But we do need lighting because the rocks, the steps, all of it is very dangerous in that area. So I contacted a company that custom makes lanterns, historical lanterns that people are using here that I've seen in projects and on people's houses. There were only 2 options for post mounting. I picked this option instead of having little squares on the glass. This has no, I guess, mullions on the glass. So there was a mullion option or a no mullion. I picked a no mullion option.
Wait, can I just ask them? You said there were 14 inches in the application, but they don't offer a 14-inch one. I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing.
I have to look at the email that he's.
First one in that star, there's a star, yeah, in the lower right-hand corner, and Stephanie, it says size 14-inch, right, across the top, the
It
horizontal.
says 1821.
It says 18. It's-
Well, the first one is 14.
But that's the hanging one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
You're
mean, the
looking at
hanging one
the,
has a 14 and
oh,
the
yeah,
one
sorry.
and doesn't have a 14, but in the application it says that they're both 14,
oh,
so.
I'm sorry, you're correct, and the,
Let me see what's on your email.
But anyway, but we're looking at the same lamp, right?
Yes.
And just one question is, so all of this is glass, but this is not glass, or it's also,
Copper.
okay, all right.
And then they had these curls on the bottom and I asked her to take the curls off. I thought it was tacky.
Do you know anything about the history of these lamps?
I don't know. They look very Home Depot 1980s.
With the TP on it
The TP is glass that was special ordered.
after?
I think so. 'Cause I just found more in the basement and they're wrapped in foam.
I've never seen it at the club. Is it? They're not. Any,
no.
I've never seen them. Have you ever seen?
Yeah, I think I've driven by. This is Walters.
No, I mean, sorry, no, the TP on the anywhere
Yeah.
else apart.
Oh,
from
no,
Walters.
no, that's the only place I ever saw it.
Right, yeah, yeah, no, so it
I-
doesn't seem to have a historical reference.
It is very. Exactly.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Was that question about this?
No, that's okay. I'm just gonna look up in her email about the size. So anyway, I've seen this brand on houses here, and that is why I contacted them. They would be custom made. I just did not like the mullions. I just think there's enough design detail in the house, and then with the rocks. I was trying to keep it simple, and I just thought simple is best. They only make a clear glass. They do not have a bubble glass. They do not have foggy glass, or
Like restoration glass.
they just have a clear glass. And this light that's on now has 3 sockets, and the light I would be ordering has only 1 socket.
That's great.
What sort of bulb would you be putting? What sort of bulb?
So in the email that I sent, it says 800 lumens, which is a 60-watt bulb, is how much the lantern can handle.
Mhm.
Um,
And the style of light bulb, is it like an old fashioned style, or is it those?
I would buy an old-fashioned style light
Right.
bulb, yes.
Not incandescent. I mean, they're not making those anymore, I don't think.
I can still find them, yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason they're not making them anymore.
Yes, I just bought a
They
few
made in
cases, so.
Yeah, yeah.
And the copper patina, it's what's the patina? The coloring of the copper, is it the copper that would patina, or is it already patinaed?
Yes. Or,
Ship's brass?
say it again?
Does it say ship's brass?
So I believe the bottom is a custom waterproof, water resistant weather plate. I don't have a copy of everything.
Hold on, here,
I'm going
this
up for
one.
email.
No, this is one.
So here.
Naval.
Yeah, that's a special piece I'm ordering, so it does not rot. And that is $200 extra for each piece. But yeah, it's just it's a piece that won't tarnish the
It's like
way.
a shiny brass, like a brass.
I don't think it is. Let me just look at her detail here. Okay, so this was 14.
And kind of
There's
just
like
think
a page.
them to look as if they've been there forever.
Oh, here.
They're not brand new.
Well, the lights that I see here in the park, they've all turned like a dark
Right.
brown.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same company. Yeah, it doesn't say, but I don't have to get the bracket if you don't want the bracket.
No, it's, I was just trying to understand what the color of this is gonna be.
All the people in the park have ordered from this company. They all turn like a dark brown
Like a bronze color.
to match the copper gutters. Yeah.
It's, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah,
I definitely don't want it to be shiny.
that's what we.
I will say, I do not know how it arrives, if it arrives shiny. All I could tell you is the ones that are in the park that I've seen. I don't want to say all the houses I've seen, but I see they've turned like a dark chocolate brown, but I do think they arrive shiny orange, so we do have to wait for them to weather.
Yeah, as long as if there was an option to have them lacquered, then don't have that lacquer option because then.
That
That's
is
the issue.
not-
If they're lacquered, then
Then-
they're not gonna,
Yeah, no, that is not our style.
Exactly. So I think we're all on the same wavelength. We want them to look
I would like them to match the gutters is my
right.
keeping everything.
And the hanging lanterns are replacing that little star. That's a good move.
You don't like the star?
I don't know, it's not me, but no. It's
You
very
get it above
strange. I don't
scratch
know.
when it's Christmas time, like the star back there.
Oh, it's perfect then for 30 days, but honestly, it's driving me crazy. It's filled with bugs and so yeah, I'm hoping this bottom will be open and the bugs can just fly out.
And I think it's nice that they're gonna have a reference to each other.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
did I hear correctly that you're donating the existing ones to the Historic Society?
So we talked about that for a minute, but when I drove away, if I was to donate them to the Historical Society and if someone was to buy them, then they would have to come and get approval for them. So I don't know if that was a smart thing that I mentioned. Because someone might say, well, I bought them, which means you like them. So we'll have to talk about that unless you want to use them.
I have someone who really wants them.
Oh,
I was gonna bid for them.
Oh.
But anyway,
but then don't they have to be approved?
I would approve them.
they should.
It's not me, I'm not asking for myself. I like them, but
I think the housing of the light is the wrong flare. It's flaring out very much. I think the glass can be made anywhere. So I think you could tell your friend, you just have that custom ordered.
well, if they do come up for sale, let me
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
about
that's
that.
another story.
I
but
will, yeah. I mean, the sockets are all rotten inside, the bases are, they have to be completely redone, just to tell your friend. Yeah.
So,
And the John, the lumens, that's legit.
I don't know what lumens you're recommending or,
800 is 60 watts.
so what's the legal requirement?
well, the only reference that's provided in the code is that the 100-watt incandescent bulbs that were used in the street lights, they measure 5 lux. And 5 lux seems to be the max before it's considered nuisance lighting.
But if it goes down from 3 bulbs to 1,
Well, it's also 3 bulbs in a fixture that's clear on all 4 sides relative to the fixtures that are there now, which part of it's
but no, this is
blacked
one, the
out.
new one has 1 light. New one has 1 light.
We're talking about the ones on the poles or the ones hanging,
The poles, right?
what,
The ones I'm
No, well-
ordering have 1 socket. The one there have 3.
so these fixtures are blacked out, the majority, so you said these had 3 60-watt bulbs? So that's 120 watts. I don't remember receiving complaints about them. But if the light fixtures that you're choosing to use are all clear glass, you know, 120 watts is,
But
Why
yours
the
are gonna
risk?
be 60 and it's only one, so I think it's,
And will they be on a timer, or they'll be, what time, when your kids come home, do they come home late? What time will you want them on?
So they're not on a timer right now. I've only had the house 5 days. Once I get there, I'll see the function of them and start understanding the house a little bit.
Right,
Now
yeah.
we're painting.
The aim is to have safe lighting, so there's no accidents, but minimum lighting so that it's not blaring and neighbors, and make
I
it,
don't know if you noticed, but the light across the street in the parking lot area is completely different. So I would be matching them all so that they look like brothers and sisters.
These are very nice lights, yeah. Made in New Orleans. In the
They're
French Quarter.
very expensive.
Yeah, they're very.
Well,
John, this is the one Dan and Sheila said they were, okay.
yes, the Rifkins and Joss Speed didn't have any complaints.
so are we? So I'd like to make a motion to vote on 103 Westlake Road, the application for hanging lanterns as well as 4 post-based lanterns, right?
Are they 4 or?
it's 5,
Oh,
the one
5.
across the street.
Okay, I'm sorry, 5.
Okay.
With the smallest size being 18 inches available, right? Which is slightly different from the application, John. In the, being a copper lantern,
unlacquered.
unlacquered copper lanterns,
60-watt bulb.
the single 60-watt bulb in each, and
Clear glass, right? It's
clear glass. And do I have a second?
Second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let there be light.
Yes, I'm just looking at the invoice. So yes, they make the 18
Okay.
and then the 14. So
Right.
sorry about that.
No,
I made a
that's fine,
mistake.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to do on the house. I would say this is the one. There's that one. I've had for 6 years. Yes, and then you would like the lights for the next function that you have? At the
Oh,
Historical Society?
yeah, that's a separate issue, but yeah, no,
Okay.
that'd be great.
No,
yeah.
no, don't worry about
Yeah.
that. It was just,
Yeah.
No, I just
No,
want to
it's
make
not-
sure,
it's-
so that I put them in a box.
I have a question, if I may, in regards to the size. Now, if the smallest is 14, are you staying with the 18 or will it be 14? Because you said smallest size available. So I just
So
want to
it's
make sure I
There
have
is
the
no,
correct.
there is no 14 available for this.
For the
For the
post.
post light.
Okay,
There
it's
is a
just for the
14
post.
for the hanging lights, but not
Okay.
for
Okay,
the smallest one is 18 for those.
okay.
Right.
Thank
All
you.
set. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then I have some other paperwork in for everyone to review as well. I'm sure you've all.
It'll go to the Board of Trustees first, and they'll, might have some comments before any design discussion possibly. So,
And do we know when we'll hear back from them? Can I be on the next agenda?
well, it won't be this Wednesday, it'll be the next meeting.
You'll email me.
You'll know.
Good night.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Good
coming in.
Thank you for being here and making plans for you.
Good
night.
night. Desiree, did you have any minutes for the last meeting?
I sent them,
Yeah, I couldn't find them on my email. Were you able to
couldn't
find
either.
them?
I didn't see them.
I searched for them and I couldn't
I
find
tried
them.
opening that link and I couldn't find them in the link.
So in that case, we will
Circulate them.
circulate them for the next meeting and vote on them then.
Oh. It said I sent him on last Thursday. According to
Well, I
this.
think since there was some sort of hiccup, and people didn't read them. I wasn't at the meeting anyway, but if we could move that approval to the next bar meeting. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for today, it being 6:26.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.